Greetings, beloved Princeton United Methodist Church community. It's Pastor Jenny here with another update for you, and I'm reading today from Acts chapter 16, verses 9 and 10. During the night, Paul had a vision. There stood a man of Macedonia pleading with him and saying, "Come over to Macedonia and help us." And when he had seen the vision, we immediately tried to cross over to Macedonia, being convinced that God had called us to proclaim the good news to them. This is the word of life. Thanks be to God. I wonder if you have ever had an experience like Paul did and those in his companions where he felt called. He had this sort of vision. He had some experience of a sense of knowing that God was calling him to a particular place for a particular purpose. And so there's kind of at least two parts to this, right? One is the sense of being called to a place or a people, and the other is why? To proclaim the good news. So the place for Paul was Macedonia, and the reason was to proclaim the good news. And for us good Methodists, many of us feel called to go places, but we don't always feel called to proclaim the good news, or at least it doesn't resonate with us in this way. So I'm inviting you this week as we prepare for our continuation of our Building Bridges series, and we'll dive more into this on Sunday, to consider, where have you been drawn or called? Maybe it's been as explicit as it was for Paul, having a vision in a dream. I'm not sure I've had that exactly, but I have had this sense at times that I needed to go to this particular place. But more often it's come from the invitation of someone else, right? It's come from somebody else saying to me, "Hey, we're going to this place. Will you come too?" And then along the way feeling like, yes, this is a place I need to go. Or sometimes it's just saying yes because I am committed to the person who told me, who invited me. And then it's only upon being there, or later even, that I felt like I understood more of the reason, the purpose, or even a resonance with a particular sort of place. So where have you been called? Where have you gone that maybe you wouldn't have gone if it weren't for God's call, or an invitation that was a different version of God's call on your life? And then, what is it to proclaim the good news? Again, we as Methodists don't often resonate as much with that language, perhaps. What is this good news that we are meant to proclaim? How are we supposed to proclaim it? Do I have any ability or authority or right to proclaim good news to people out there somewhere that we don't even know? These are all kinds of questions that I hear in myself that come up, and that I do hear from others as well. So I invite us even to kind of shift this around a little bit. Maybe first asking, what is the good news that I have received? How has the good news been proclaimed to me? Sometimes, again, that's from other people. Sometimes it is from church, from preachers, from pastors, from music, from things that happen outside of me. But also there are ways that God's good news is proclaimed inside of me, that I receive it in me, rarely without the help of something outside, but sometimes it's something that wells up in me. But what does it mean to go and proclaim this good news, to share it with others? I really think that actually begins with listening, with hearing the places and the stories that people are and have. So where are people already, and what are the needs that they're sharing about? What are the stories that they come to us with? Not just us coming with something to proclaim. Again, this is that idea of that mutually beautiful bridge that I referred to a couple of weeks ago. This idea that as Christians, we don't just go places with Jesus because we have Jesus and they on the other side of that bridge don't. No, we cross these bridges and build these bridges that Jesus goes before us, and we follow Jesus across bridges and discover when we get there that we actually find Jesus there even more than we kind of had Jesus already on the other side of the bridge. And so, and sometimes that comes through the very people that we find there. So there's a mutuality in this. There's a sense that God is at work already in the very people. So for Paul, God is at work already in the people of Macedonia. He brings something to them, but they are also bringing something to him, and we're going to discover more about that on Sunday morning. So where have you been called? Where have you been called? Where have you been invited to go? And why? Why? For what reason? What version of proclaiming the good news? Maybe that is in the form of very tangible help and resources, but maybe it's been for you to find a friend, to find a person that there can be this sharing of connection, and you learning about the good news yourself, you sharing about the good news yourself. Maybe it's also for the good that will come of us being bridged together, to have this partner, these partners, these companions on the journey that's even before us further. So I invite you to think about these things, to ponder these things, to let these be a reflection for you. A couple of invitations for you as we move into the rest of this week. On Sunday, the 22nd, we are going to be gathering together for our Building Bridges Heritage and Cultural Tour of the Witherspoon Jackson District in Princeton. And so this is a way for us to begin to build some of these bridges and hear some stories. We won't necessarily, unless we encounter people on our journey, be talking to people. We don't have planned conversations with people, but we're going to be listening to the stories of the neighborhood where we are so closely tied physically in the Princeton Church, and go on this journey together and see what we hear, see what we experience as a one step of bridge building that we can do together. So that's going to happen at 12:30 on Sunday, and you can do that with us as a group. You can also do this on your own anytime you would like. And you can do it even virtually from your own home. There's a resource that Emma Worrell has helped to put together, and along with the Witherspoon Jackson Historical and Cultural District, we're grateful to be able to use some of their resources here too. So know that that's happening Sunday or anytime it works for you. Also, on Monday and Tuesday of next week, it is our Greater New Jersey Annual Conference. And this is a gathering of lay people and clergy from all the different churches in the conference, Methodist, United Methodist churches. And we conduct some business together. We also look ahead together. We celebrate what has happened together. But most significantly for our congregation, Skitch Matson, our associate pastor, campus pastor now at Kingston, is getting ordained on Tuesday. That service is scheduled for 11 o'clock, and it's all virtual. So this whole conference is virtual. You can join in on YouTube. We're going to provide the links for that. You can hop on anytime, or you can see the archives of it after it's done. But that service will happen kind of live at 11 a.m. on Tuesday morning, but you'll be able to watch the service whenever you would like afterwards. So send your love to Skitch and share your congratulations with him on this milestone in his ministry. Blessings to you all. It is, as always, a joy to be on this journey with you. Remember that you are enough because God is enough, and remember that I treasure this time with you and the honor of being your pastor. Farewell. See you soon.